Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in this world. This is Hejin Lee with a morning update for Bitcoin. All right, so overnight we got a lower low, but it hasn't surpassed the prior exactly the 7,200, 7,293 lower low yet. Now, I'll take this from the short term to long term perspective as to what could be changing, what has changed, and what might be the new support lines to look at. They aren't really that much new on a longer term scale. Not much has changed. Now here, I'm going to start with a clean slate again. We had this wedge, a much bigger wedge going on, from which there was a premature breakout. Naturally, I think we will probably hit a lower low here. I'm expecting it to not be a sizable new lower low. That would be very interesting. But in this case, still, the pattern of this has not changed much. This still remains as a wedge. And this declining wedge is now broken through the bottom line and is very close to the apex. So we need to see if the price will come back in or it'll just start declining further down. Now we have seen in other coins how a initial breakout of a wedge can lead to a slightly lower low. That is potential, yes. But let's see how the rest of today plays out with this pattern. If we get a much lower low, that is a decisive break below the lower support line, then we need to start looking at the Fibonacci's. What I mean by that is, so from the 5,900 low to the recent higher high of 11,800 or so, price is approaching the 0.78 region. It pretty much bounced off the 0.78 before. It's coming down towards it again. And let's see if that 0.78 holds. If that 0.78 does not hold, then we're looking at the next Fibonacci interval of 0.88, which will be in the range of 6,800. And that coincides with the long-term support line. But clearly, from a pattern perspective, Bitcoin is enamored with the wedge pattern quite a bit. So we're seeing it here of big, medium, and small. What kind of a sequence modality could that reflect? I think it reflects more of a lot of sellers, much less sellers. So a venti size of sellers created this symmetrical triangle. They recovered, and then a medium size, a grande size of sellers were involved in creating this. Recovered, and now a tall, I'm talking on the size of Starbucks coffee, or small size of sellers, cohort of sellers. This is maybe the best that they can do. So what could this reflect? I think it reflects more of the deterioration of selling pressure. They did the best they could here, and they made a very massive, impressive 60 something, 70% decline from the tops. Then they're going to try again, but nothing compared to this. And yet they're trying again right now. But even this small, tiny baby wedge is nothing compared to this. I was working out yesterday, and it's really the same thing as working out. When you start bench pressing 270 pounds, You can get to this probably the first rep pretty easy. Now do it again. Your number of reps will decline significantly. Then do it again after not even 30 seconds of rest. So this whole thing is putting out a sequential reflection of the deterioration of selling power. That's how I see it. Still within this, the bull flag is potential still. And if we can have the E wave go to, and I've said this yesterday, if we can have E wave go to at around 7,000 or 7,100 or something like that, wherever this yellow line lands at, that could complete the ABCDE of the bull flag. It may even do a piercing. It may even do that bull wick. I've already discussed this yesterday, but I think this may be now potentially playing out. This long-term support has to hold. Because if it doesn't hold, that 0.88 level of 6,800 will be seen in the second long-term support line. So the price, if the price comes down to the 0.88, we could be looking at the 68, 6,900 potentially if it just fell straight down right now. But I think it'll take time, so that'll probably take us to 7,000, 7,100. If this support breaks, then we're looking at probably 5,000 ranges. It hasn't broken yet. It has not broken yet, and the sequential process of this, let's see how it plays out. Notice how this wedge broke out above the bottom of the prior. Let's see if we can do the same thing here. Now this whole thing still fits, I believe, well within a symmetrical triangle. So it's almost like triple impregnated pattern with the triplets. And when I've seen this, it's very bullish. When you have three bullish declining wedges impregnated within a larger symmetrical triangle, that is consolidation, corrective. And is there a chance of another tiny quadruplet with a fourth wedge forming here? Yes, I've seen that. Now I've seen that this kind of sequence with regards to wedges. I've seen it with regards to cup and handles. 1, 2, 3, and then it will be a sizable breakout after that. So while the price is declining, I think the overall picture looks pretty bullish. As long as this support line holds. All right, I hope that's helpful. Is now the time to be panicking? Absolutely not. Never. Never is it time to be panicking. It's time to be calm, disciplined, taking a wider scope as possible. In other words, be contrarian and long-term greedy. Have a great day.